Hey guys, we'll get started in just a minute. AR, why don't you try talking for a bit just so we can check levels?
Okay. I was gonna I forgot to think of something clever to say.
Just say something clever. Oh, come on, you're not
Mm,
you're not going to go for the great cartoon
I'm
setup
not
there?
doing that. Nope. I'm not taking that bait. Too easy.
Oh, that's beyond bait. That was like a perfect softball lob.
This Yeah, no.
Okay, it looks like our levels are about even, so we'll grab 30 seconds of silence before we start. Starting now. Okay, that should be good. You ready to go?
That 30 seconds of silence is the best part of the podcast.
Well, it's objectively dumb, especially because OBS mutes you most of the time.
Mhm.
So very often I don't get. Whoa. So very often I don't get what I need for you or May from that 30 seconds. So
Huh.
now, to be fair, since you guys connect through OBS, it's cleaning up your
Mhm.
audio anyways,
Yeah, that would be the point.
and they don't hear mine cleaned up.
Ah,
So
gotcha.
for
So
so
it only exists to clean up yours.
for the audio version, because the YouTube
Right.
version is what it is.
Huh.
But it also gives me a baseline for if there is an issue with you guys, like
The maze
the
in a wind tunnel.
no, May in a wind tunnel was just a pain. The time it helped was when we had fires out here and you were having snow and internet issues. I was able
Mm,
to use that to
yeah.
filter some stuff out that time for you.
So the fire and the ice cancels each other out.
Basically, yes.
Yeah.
So ready to
Okay.
go?
It was amusing that you were having fires at the same time we were having snowstorms.
Yes, it was. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to the podcast. We're here to entertain and inform while talking about Digimon. I'm Mark. I run with the will.
I'm AR Pulver at Mon Digimon Restore.
That's the
It's what
dumbest.
I'm working.
That's the dumbest one you've done yet because now people are actually going to type that in and get confused when they can't find it.
Digimon System Restore. Digimon.firstagent.net. The first agent is spelled out.
Good luck with that. So it's been. Oh, sometimes we have shows where the actual setup for the show is a bit odd. This one was, shall we say, stressful?
Uh, yeah, basically. The last week we just got hammered, which is better than I suppose than having last night being hammered.
Oh, sure, but the way it kind of went was the first weeks it was like, okay, there's not a bunch of news, but there's, plenty to talk about. Plus, we'll get some sort of wild thing, and that will focus on it. And then about 2 weeks ago, well, we'll get into everything because that all comes up in the news, but
We scheduled this podcast based on being the day after their live stream,
and
which turned out to be a smart decision
yeah,
despite the reasons we will
yes.
get into.
But it's worth mentioning that's also really dumb when you consider, for example, that I make notes so we can follow along. Me and Lost make title cards so that if you're watching on YouTube, you can follow along. That means that doing a show the day after could mean throwing out everything and redoing it in a day.
Yeah, I suppose that's true, but
Yeah.
we're still going to be talking about everything
Yeah.
that was announced in the month prior.
Oh no, absolutely. But what I mean is that cards could have to be cards that have been worked on for a week could have to be tossed, and everything could have to be remade in a day, based on
Yeah,
what ends up happening.
I
Luckily,
suppose.
there were lots of revisions, but not a lot of screwball things
Yeah, there
this
wasn't
time.
a lot to. There was some little things you had to throw in
Yeah,
there, but not a ton of
yeah,
new order rearranging and
yeah.
all that.
So why don't we just jump into the news because Man, this could be. This is more news sometimes than we expect in a year for big things.
Yeah, it feels like
Yeah.
this is already better than 2019.
Yeah. So starting off, just happy 2020. We have not had a show this year yet. I mean, that even came up in the conversation setting stuff up where it only occurred to both of us that, oh yeah, there hasn't been a 2020 show yet.
Yeah, there's stuff in here that I'm actually surprised we hadn't already talked about.
Yeah. So, I mean, the New Year's art was great. A lot of people got upset that Kenji Watanabe drew Pikachu. He's drawn him before.
Oh.
Because it's the year of the rat.
It's the year they're at.
Yeah.
Sure.
So you have the tiny Pikachu up there waving to Agumon.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Agumon or is that legally not Agumon wearing a hat?
Yeah.
Because looking at him, it is Agumon, but like there's little bits on the tail that don't look quite right. So it kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, in theory, the big news was supposed to be Digimon News Navigation, but they threw us some curveballs that effectively, I don't want to say it made it superfluous.
They just kind of all the really big stuff they kind of scattered in the weeks before, which is a smarter way to do it anyway.
It is
hammering us with 10 different breaking news things at once. It sort of diminishes.
No, absolutely.
Everyone's going to focus on one or two particular things, and then you're going to have other stuff that isn't going to get as much attention.
Yeah, but instead, what ends up happening is, and this did happen, is what we got all the big news, and to a lot of people, it didn't occur to them that, oh, they're giving us the news early.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, what happened was you had people like completely in awe watching it, waiting for the big thing that didn't come. They're like, oh, was the big thing the 1 second at the end? And no, they already gave us the news.
No. I mean, it's considering what we got last week.
Yes.
How are you going to top that?
Yeah. So it ended up basically being general news update, and if you haven't been paying attention, here's what you've missed.
Yeah, basically. Although at the same time, Agumon was really cute.
No, the Agumon thing was because, and I remember going through the text of them announcing stuff, and they're like, and Chika Sakamoto's Agumon. I'm like, that's weird. They've almost worded it like she's not going to be there and she will be voicing Agumon, but that doesn't make sense. And then the Agumon suit showed up with her voice.
Yeah.
And is it just me or does it look like it was very uncomfortable for that guy to sit?
Oh, it looked awful.
Yeah. Like he's sitting there and he's really trying to like be happy and emote and dancing around in his chair and everything. Like I feel bad for that guy.
At the same time, I'm actually, because of Agumon, that might have been the main reason I was actually okay with waking up at 5 a.m. for this.
That was...
And and another thing is seeing it in real time, it would have, that sort of diminishes the disappointment, because you're just sort of processing everything going on, and it's better than waking up at the very end of it, at when I normally wake up and just kind of look back at the recap and go, oh, that was nothing.
The weirdest part was watching Twitter, and it was either you or May who even commented on it to me. People were like, haha, with the Wills pretending to be excited during the live stream. It's like, was anyone paying attention to my tweets? I was like
sarcastic the whole time.
Oh yeah, it was like this happened. Hey, look, we got a second at the end. For some reason, people took that as like crazy excitement from me pretending to be excited about it. It was like, no, I was half asleep, frankly. Like I did not.
I was surprised that I stayed awake through the whole thing.
I'm not convinced you were. There were a few times you went silent in the chat room. And it's just like, I think AR fell asleep on his couch.
No, that's because I don't have the obligation to report on anything. If nothing's happening, I'm not going to say anything.
The funny part was, and a lot of people only realized this after I made a joke tweet about it, how hard it is to actually report on a live stream while doing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm watching the live stream. I'm also making sure that I'm able to take screen caps.
Yeah, you're screen capping, and that's the thing, because I Chromecasted that.
Oh, it gets worse. Because I don't know if they're actually going to put up the stream archive, when I'm taking screen captures at important times, I have it set to save as pings.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to upload 2 megabyte ping, so I'm converting those to JPEG. I'm renaming them for upload. I'm throwing them on Twitter and the site and writing to be coherent, and I'm throwing things into OCR programs so I can get text and attempt to translate it while I'm doing everything.
The best part is they did archive it.
Oh, they almost always do.
Yeah.
But it's a matter of having stuff in case the few times they don't.
Yeah, they did archive it, and as much as we're gonna talk about, as much as we joke about them not talking about anything, I actually did have to go back to it and refer to a couple things that we're gonna get into.
Oh no, everyone went back to it a lot, and translations of a lot of that text stuff came from Onke afterwards when she went back to look at it. We joked there was nothing announced and there was nothing big announced, but there were lots of little revisions.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was my gentle nudge to let's talk about the actual.
Yeah. So first up, they announced we're getting KIZUNA in the US, and
this is the one thing I forgot we didn't talk about yet.
Yeah, in fact, like that actually came up when we were putting the show together, which was funny, because you'd actually, I was like, well, no, we should talk about this first, and you're like, what do you mean? I'm like, we haven't talked about it, and you had to go check the calendar to make sure. And
in my defense, this is the first podcast where we're putting the big stuff first.
No, we've done that before when we've had big news. It's just not standard how we've done it. We've generally gone through sections, basically.
This is the episode where I'm like putting my foot down, saying, "Okay, let's talk about the big stuff right off the bat." Inverted pyramid, let's do it.
Inverted pyramid sometimes.
Yeah.
So March 25th at 7 p.m. we get the movie in theaters, subtitled, a month after the Japanese release.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I haven't checked the locations yet, but I'm not worried. I'll figure it out. This is actually way earlier than I was planning on. I was expecting to be done with my review of Appmon. I sort of timed that out and it's like, okay, I'll be done with Appmon in late April. That should be before we get it in theaters.
Yeah.
I'm not disappointed they have it a month earlier.
Yeah. And the interesting twists were they announced we'll have interviews with director Tomohisa Taguchi and chief animation director Seiji Tatsukawa. Mm-hmm. And what was the tiny little twist was they had a tiny little thing that there'd be a trailer for a new Digimon series.
Yeah, and which I'm we all freaked out about that. I'm surprised the Japanese Twitter really didn't catch on.
Japanese Twitter went with our what if, which was there's still some stuff we kind of haven't gotten.
Oh, they were team it's only an Appmon dub?
No, it was more that not sure what it is, and it could be an
I mean there was a lot of speculation over what it was, and we had fun trying to guess what it could be, and I had my percentages out, and
for some reason
it was my second highest suggestion. So.
Am I wrong, or was there a lot of people who thought it was going to be a Hunter's dub for some reason?
I did not see anyone who thought it would be a Hunter's dub.
Oh, I saw a bunch.
I appreciate them keeping the faith alive.
Yeah. So yeah, a month after, and there were lots of very specific questions. So we're not quite going to do questions now, but there are a few specific things that are worth going over.
Mm-hmm.
And some of this we've said before, but it's probably easier to back up with actual information now. Do not wait. Please don't wake up on February 20 whatever and think it's going to be on Crunchyroll. It's not going to.
Yeah, that's probably just the fact that they announced it now for March 25th. That can pretty well guarantee that this movie is not going to be available internationally.
And we'll get into that a bit more in the question and answer, but it is not going to be on Crunchyroll day one. Period.
We'll get to this later, but we'll just cap it off by saying this is normal.
Yes, this is what Try was unique for very many reasons, which we will get into a bit later.
Yeah.
On top of that, they announced not the first Japanese screening, but the first Japanese screening where tickets are affordable and normal for February 4th at the Walled 9, which it's kind of weird and nice to basically have a home-based theater.
Yeah.
So Natsuki Hanai, Chika Sakamoto, Mayu Matsuoka, and Tomohisa Taguchi are going to be there. That's 2 days after if you spent 150 some odd dollars at the crowdfunding to go to the first screening.
I forgot that crowdfunding screening
exists. And what's interesting for this screening, there's actually a notice that the movie may not be done.
Uh-oh.
Like that if you go to the screening on the 4th and go the final day, there may be differences in the film.
That's understandable, though.
Yeah, but it's always interesting to see that type of thing. Like they note, there'll be media coverage and that sort of thing. It's just always neat to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Digimon News Navigation, man, not a lot of details we didn't know, but like clarifications on quite a bit from producer Kinoshita. The weirdest one to point out, because everyone saw it from the moment we had a trailer, which was, the homages to Wargame.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was the most obvious one, and they still pointed out, or stuff like the glowing Digivice being linked to Last Evolution.
I mean, that's fine, because, sometimes we look at some things like there was that one episode of Appmon that everyone thought was an homage to Boku no War Game, and nobody, there was no, like, official acknowledgement.
No, yeah.
So getting an official acknowledgement is like, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. And what I actually like is going through everything he said, there's not really spoilers.
No.
The handful of things that might be spoilers are all things that we really knew from the trailer.
Taichi keeping a pretty neat house is not technically a spoiler, although it might mess up some people's headcanons.
Yeah. The one thing I do need to ask Onke was, were they saying that Agumon said that, or was it the actual Agumon on set who said that?
You could probably go back to the film and check that.
Probably. It just amuses me. And unfortunately, we were lazy this time and did not do the math for the Chosen Children.
Oh, I could probably pull up my file on that. I don't really feel like doing that right now, but I'm pretty sure this is higher than the 30,000 Chosen Children. I think is higher than it was that the old formula would have suggested.
Yeah, which was funny because Try felt like it had hit that right on the head.
Yeah. Oh, I have a Digimon folder on my computer with an Excel file called Chosen Distribution. I'm just gonna pop that up and we can move on, but we'll circle back to that.
But yeah, so that's it for KIZUNA, but I don't know. A month after Japan in theaters is about as good as it's gonna get. The one thing worth mentioning is while tickets are available now, technically speaking, they're not officially open, so anyone who's looked and doesn't see it at their local theater, ticketing isn't official until February 7th, I believe.
I haven't found any theater. I haven't really looked and found theaters, but I'm not too worried about my local joint.
I have tickets. It's just not the one I want to check out to. I would rather it be...
Yeah.
Like, there are 3 different theaters it could be that are less of a pain in the ass.
16,000 is the number I had on my distribution sheet.
Yeah, it could just be an early year. So let's go ahead and move on to what ended up being the surprise, which is we're getting a Digimon Adventure reboot.
Yep, that was the winner, was the more adventure.
Yeah, and
everyone who had more adventure down for their on their what's the new series about.
Now, I feel like we should point out that I believe when we both went, man, it feels like it's time for a show. What do you think it'll be? It feels like it's time for something new. They're not going to go back to adventure. Cough, cough.
Well, here's the thing. This is kind of having it both ways. Because the way this is set up, it feels very much like it's going to be an original show.
Yes. It's a bit of a cheat, but I'd still...
Oh, it's very much a cheat, but it's a good cheat.
It's especially...
It's a smart
cheat. It is, but it's really a cheat when you consider date-wise, it's going to start a month and a half after the movie, realistically. That's beyond cheating. That's not just having your cake and eating it too. That's eating the cake and then wandering off, kicking someone, taking their cake. Like... It's just a bit of a cheat when you consider we are still in marketing for quote unquote the last thing.
Yeah, that's the odd thing.
Yeah,
is that they're marketing it as Last Adventure for this group of Taichi and Company. The next
Yeah.
group of Taichi and Company
Yeah,
is coming a month later.
yeah, that's a cheat no matter how you do it, because I don't know, there's something very, very weird about we're talking about the last thing, and they've already
But
told us they're rebooting it.
even when they said it would be the last thing, most of us said, yeah, right.
Oh no, we were 100% sure it wasn't going to be, but it was all the assumption was always, okay, it will either be a show will come
Yeah,
up
we
next,
figured it'd take a couple years.
or they'll take a year or two off before doing something. That if there was going to be a show, it would be okay, they'll jump to the time skip or do something if they were going to do that. Not they were going to immediately jump into a reboot a month and a half later, where even the designs borderline look like they took the head and pasted it on a new body.
Yeah, I was surprised that the designs are so similar. I was expecting they'd refresh that a little bit more.
Well, it helps when it's Nakatsuru doing the designs again.
But even his design, like his KIZUNA designs, are a little bit different.
But they also point out they specifically asked him to make them different because they wanted they wanted that natural evolution from adventure to O2 to try to here.
Yeah, but you can also do that for the reboot as well, and saying, change it up a little bit.
No, so the weirdest thing I've seen about the reboot is obviously we have basically 1 second of footage that has maybe like 5 frames in it. I've already seen complaints that based on what we've seen, they seem super deformed compared to Digimon in the last few years.
I mean, compared to recently, maybe, but I actually kind of liked that brief second of footage. Like that kind of got me excited. Like there's something just the way that his expression and the way he's clutching those goggles and just the detail of it.
Yeah.
I really liked that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what. It's hard to gauge the show at this point. Where it's as joking as it is almost goes back to that KIZUNA trailer talking about potential.
I said that in a post I did. Like it's just if the chosen children are powered by possibilities, this sort of refreshes everything, throws out the previously established canon, and it's like they have possibilities again.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see what they do with it. They can make a lot of changes. They can kind of play with the technological implications on the real world that Atmon did very well.
I do have to say though, Bandai trying to tell people something was coming was both hilarious and nonsense. Where they made that tweet that was like, "We can't say anything, but the March V jumps it's a bigger than normal issue, and Digimon fans are gonna want to see that." And like they're saying nothing, but they're like, "Come on, you want to get that." And then we got the information a few days earlier where the title was misread, and I will say this: that was a very while the misread was obviously wrong, that they came up with a relevant symbol reading the icon like that, I'm amused by.
That is really amusing. Yeah. I mean, it's like the days of Digimon, the 2 days, the single day really of Digimon Adventure Sai was kind of interesting.
Yeah, and then we got the clean poster image, which the poster feels like they're manipulating us like they did with Try, where people are coming up with lots of logical suggestions based on the poster, and I don't know.
I guess.
It's
like it's too early to read.
No, it is, but like people are trying to read into them not showing any form of Patamon, for example.
Showing Hikari and not showing Patamon and Tailmon. I get that, and honestly, I'm not buying that at all.
We'll see.
The question is Hikari here from the start or not? That's the only real thing to take out of the poster.
I like the Agumon shot also, not the Greymon shot.
Greymon, yeah, Greymon looks
great shot.
Like all of this looks great. Like I think what people may not quite catch on to if they're not so excited about this is Adventure really did need a reboot. I think it was a couple like last year or so. Like, we had a question on which series would you most like to see rebooted, and May picks the series that's actually not very good, and you picked Tamers to be a troll, I believe, and I picked Adventure because that series could most do with a reboot as far as bringing a new audience into the fold.
Yeah. Yeah, there's lots of just interesting. I don't know, it's just weird because a month ago there was no information a show was coming, and now it's like we're only vaguely 2-ish months away from it. That's really that's fucking weird.
I was expecting to not have to do reviews of anymore after Atmon was done, and in fact, I've hinted before, I haven't decided if I'm actually going to review this new series. Like, if they're really turning a corner and just starting from scratch in that sort of vein, I may not actually review this.
Well, the other interesting thing is they've already given us an English teaser, which is suggestive.
That is a really good point.
Yeah, like
that sort of suggests that whatever we're doing, this isn't going to be something like
this isn't
Atmon.
this.
We're going to be waiting in limbo for 3 years.
Yeah, this is the type of thing where Toei, with their biggest shows, generally they're not streaming day one because they're trying to license them as big as possible before anything happens.
Right.
With an English trailer already, it does make you wonder, though, because especially if they were going to try to do stuff themselves like they have in the past, this could actually show up day one. At the moment, it feels almost like it's two-face flipping a coin, basically, at the moment. Either one wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. At the same time, it's really a question of what they're really marketing to, because this feels like they're going to try to capture a new audience with this. Like, whoever hangs around, but this is, that's great.
But does that sorry, go ahead.
But I think what you're asking is does that apply internationally?
Yeah, I'm not sure I think to get that new audience, even in the US, you do need to have it on a Crunchyroll or streaming somewhere, because that's where the audience. We're long past the days of Fox Kids, and I mean, where are kids going to discover the new anime? It's going to be Crunchyroll or Funimation.
I mean, Disney's still doing a little bit of it.
Yeah, but that's also stuff that generally isn't there day one. That's where.
Exactly.
That's where, Disney XD licenses it and airs it, and that could be a place where a dubbed show goes.
Yeah, but that's not. That takes a year to get down the pipeline.
It depends. I mean, remember, the original Digimon show wasn't that far behind.
Well, the original Digimon show was also in the Fox Kids era, where they were scrambling to get as many potential properties with marketing potential as they could get.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, because there's stuff airing dubbed on Toonami that isn't that far behind.
No.
So I'm not saying I expect it. I'm just saying it's not impossible. It's just there's a lot to see, I think.
Yeah.
But who knows? I'm torn on the logo. I really like the logo, but it also does not quite have that Digimon style that nearly every logo except Atmon had, even though there's a lot of Cross Wars in this logo.
I was going to say, this is very Cross Wars similar.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that works or not. And I think we can also safely say that the way we're supposed to call this
Digimon Adventure.
Digimon Adventure.
Yes.
Don't worry about the punctuation there, because that was what I went back into the live stream and checked. The narrator
exactly
in the trailer was Digimon Adventure.
Yes. This is like every random anime series that does this, where it's like K-On! Season 2 has 2 exclamation points at the end. Sedokai Yakuindomo 2 has an asterisk at the end, where you're supposed to just kind of ignore it's there, and they're only putting it there for writing reasons. So we'll see.
Sort of a written differentiator.
Yes. Yeah, I would have preferred they at least do just put an RE colon at the end, or some. I mean, I understand the point is they want it just called Digimon Adventure. But damn, does that make it fucking annoying to deal with?
Yeah, trying to put it. If I did review it, to put a tab on my site, I'll just have to have a colon.
I like how a lot of people are just being stubborn going, no, I'm calling it Psy because I don't want to deal with this shit. And I kind of understand that, even though I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I still have it tagged as Psy on Tumblr, but that's more for organizational purposes.
Realistically, it's going to morph into Digimon Adventure 20 or Digimon Adventure 2020 to most people.
Yeah, that's what I'd go with.
And let us talk about when I saw this, I was like, oh no, not again. And it was shockingly positive. Director Kakudo chose to chime in. And
that's right.
And
yeah, that was a pretty magnanimous statement.
Yeah, it was. But we're generally used to him being so outspoken that it was like he wrote a blog post and then, looking at it's like, wow, this is all very reasonable, makes sense. The new director went in and introduced himself.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about the background, and even though he said it before and everyone just likes to ignore it, he confirms that Digimon was not meant to be 54 episodes.
No.
It was meant to be 53. There, it was extended longer than it was meant to.
Extended one episode.
Yes.
I mean, it's the Apocalypse arc was bad enough with only 2 episodes.
Well, the extra episode was from like the first 20.
Oh, I gotcha.
Because it pushed, they were going to have the day they go to camp be in July.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah,
he gets like this is they're really starting over here. They can do whatever they want. His old thoughts are not really important to the new series anymore.
And unfortunately, the nitwit started messaging him, and he's like, "I don't know what the hell you're talking about," because they decided that his message was actually him being sad or him being disrespected. And they started messaging him randomly about how Habu would save the franchise and how Toei was disrespecting him. And he was just like, this has nothing to do with whatever the hell you're on about.
Yeah.
We got a few comments from 2 of the new producers, and those were very nice and interesting and completely generically nonsense. I mean, they're nice messages, but there's nothing. The famous Digimon Adventure series will be anew. There's lots of interesting stuff, but a lot of it's the kind of stuff where we'll wait to see what actually happens. Cause it's like, oh, social media, cell phones. And it's like, that's easily stuff that as much as they're talking about could do nothing. I would hope they do, but I'll wait to see. Kenji Watanabe posting about the title was one of the more amusing things. Where he's just running through different possible ways to shorten it. He kind of ended on, who knows, it's probably just going to be the same way everyone shortened the first one.
Honestly, if you're just trying to, just digi add colon would probably, and the actual punctuation if you're writing it out and need a short.
I don't think that renders out as a hashtag on social media.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And then the last
you'd think a rebooted series that's taking, modern times and modern technology issues into consideration would be smart enough to have a hashtagable title.
And the weirdest thing, this is the first time since Savers that it's not only back on Fuji TV, it's in its original time slot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I was weirdly nostalgic about that, even though I obviously never watched it on Fuji TV originally.
No, it's exactly. It's just kind of neat that it's going back there. And it's.
Although I really find it amusing that Atmon was in TV Tokyo, like right next to Pokemon.
Yeah, and then
like the two on the website were like advertised right next to each other.
True, and we talked about the footage. Well, anyone, since no one can see me, anytime I say the footage, I'm making air quotes because it was like 3 seconds and it was like 20 frames
total.
Those were
hell of a 3 seconds.
Yeah. It's interesting. We'll see what else. I feel like the thing everyone really is wondering about is the theme.
Well, the theme and the voice actor and the voice cast for me.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in the voice cast because I think what they do with that will tell you a lot about who they're trying to reach.
See, I'm not sure about that because I feel like like I know what I want, but I think I'm expecting a new cast.
I'm kind of hoping for a new cast,
Yeah,
actually.
I'm expecting a new cast. I would kind of hope for, as appropriate, combinations of old actors.
I would like to see old actors appear in other roles in the show.
True. I will say I'm not expecting new actors for the Digimon.
Yeah, the Digimon is where I'm really torn.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be shocked if they did, but I'm expecting it to be the same actors because they've been super consistent on that in every aspect possible.
Yeah. And you can have all the same
Yes.
Digimon actors. Like that's not possible
Yes.
with a rebooted Digimon.
Although
You cannot have
yeah. Although if they do use the Digimon, um, they've already done the whole spiel about new and old. So I would hope they would just skip saying that again.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, it doesn't really apply to this anyway.
yeah. But yeah, there's a lot about this we'll be talking about, and especially if we're getting it subtitled day one, which we don't know at this point, we very well may be talking about this every episode about the actual episodes and whatnot. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we're not quite as done with that as you think. The Digimon Project trailer, which man, people are still like writing clickbait about this fucking thing.
Really?
Yeah. Oh
I mean,
yeah.
I can get that it's clickbait, but let's
Yeah.
be real that it's
Okay.
clickbait.
Yeah.
This is a really fun trailer.
Yeah.
It says nothing.
Yes, this is a brand trailer. This is basically
Yeah.
Bandai making a trailer to show off the brand. And oddly, there's I've seen two large groups that are completely the opposite. The one is pointing out that if you really watch this, while it shows past, present, future, and a bunch of different things, but the focus is adventure.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Well, I mean,
it's
I mean, most stuff is adventure.
yeah. I mean, I know what you're saying about like
And
it's
then,
got
and then,
Agumon and Garurumon and
no, it
Omegamon.
even has Palmon, Gomamon, Leomon.
Yeah.
Then there's
Those are I just sort of stopped associating those with adventure, and those are just sort of
yeah.
the mainstays now.
Then there's a group that oddly has decided this is showing that the brand is more than adventure. And I mean,
it's not technically wrong. Like,
it's not wrong.
A lot of the
it's
video games. It's
no,
showing
absolutely.
the card games and the pendulums.
But it is very adventure heavy, and we actually got our first look at the new Digivice here, like our first proper look at something.
Mm-hmm.
The light up ring's interesting, as are the buttons, as is the fact that looking at this shell, it really looks like a CSA Digivice, doesn't it?
It does.
Like if
they're already getting ready to sell.
Yeah,
that thing.
like if in the next 2 or 3 months a CSA Neo, whatever they call it, Digivice pops up, I would not be shocked. Although the actual first proper look at it does disappoint me a little, because I had almost wondered if they would go with colored rings for the inside.
I mean, they might. I mean, also might be some still have some color coding going on for characters,
especially when they light up, which we do see a bit of lighting up, so it'll be interesting to see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, trailers interesting. I don't think the animation's as good as a lot of people have made it out to be, though. To be honest,
no, I agree with that. Like
for some reason,
I've seen it better. I mean, this kind of integration between CGI and reality, like this sort of advertisement has been done a lot before.
This is
Nintendo just had one like last week.
Yeah, this is meant to be very cartoony, very fun. But I've seen a lot of people talk about how expensive it must have been. It's like it's not like the high, I would say oddly the two parts that looked the nicest was one, the shot of Omegamon, which was just a CGI mod. There wasn't much fancy being there. And the oddly really fancy recreation of the Tri-Evolution scene.
Yeah, that looked nice.
Yeah, that looked nice. And that was like that was shockingly specific to the version from Tri.
Yeah, that's like everyone thinking that they just want to forget about the Tri. It's like, well,
But yeah, this is just a brand. Now, here's the thing: it is just a brand trailer, but it would not shock anyone if later on they revealed this was showing us something that we haven't noticed yet.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. There was a lot going on there, and I'm sure there's stuff that I missed.
Yeah,
but I mean, it did. It was really cool, like showing some of the old. They showed some of the old World Story games in the background. That was my favorite throwback.
Yeah, they showed a bunch. They showed the new card game, which we'll get into in a bit. But lots of interesting stuff. I still keep looking at the Digivice, just going, man. I know they've announced a new Digivice toy, but that really looks like a CSA to me.
Yeah. I also liked that they showed Odaiba kind of from two different angles, one of which is like showing the Rainbow Bridge that we always associate with adventure. Another one shows the street with the monorail over it that's really connected to Cyber Sleuth. Like, that's the Odaiba in Cyber Sleuth, was the thought I had from that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Monorail, you say?
It's or train or monorail. It's some sort of overhead train rail or bridge.
That was a Simpsons gag, not an actual questioning of your comment. I was going to say one of the cities, but I started mixing them up in my head and chose not to. Ogden, Brook, and Haverville?
Ogden, Brockville, yeah.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and move on from The Simpsons. I'm doing my best not to get distracted by Star Trek.
You're failing. Okay, move on.
So they updated. So first we have a new official site for the show, which is nice. But the interesting thing was, hey, they actually made Digimon Web an actual website again, because it was not for a while. It was the front page was just an index of the Toy and Monmon memo articles from Bandai's blog, with a link to a few pages like X Evolution in the reference book. And it's set to automatically translate to English based on where you are, which is a nice little touch.
Yeah, did you notice that it translates Yggdrasil to King Drazel?
They're using a specific translator, which I believe actually has names mixed in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people, for some reason, have decided that this is all custom translations. It's not.
No.
That's why,
it even says in the corner that it's machine translate.
Yeah. It just happens that the translator they're using is what, like Google Translate will plug in certain names on stuff. This one's just happens to be plugging in different ones.
Yeah, and I'm sure they have to have a few terms that they have to push over, because there's so much confusion.
Some of the character names aren't so good.
Oh,
so it's possible, but I doubt it, because
the King Drazel thing just amused me.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's only exclusive to that. I've seen
no. There's a few.
I've seen that on Twitter. I've seen it happen on Twitter times where Hillmon's translated to Gatomon.
Yeah, that stuff where the translation stuff just has it set that this means this in English, so it's overriding the literal translation to the term.
Right.
But yeah, so
the King Drazel thing just amused me, especially because that obviously doesn't apply to a general application of Yggdrasil.
Yes.
That is a Digimon specific reference.
Yes. And hey, new card game, and the first thing I want to say about this is the logo font. Does it really feel like they want to be reminiscent of the English font?
Yeah.
Like they've done it before, but it's a nice logo, but the font just looks so familiar. So the starter sets they're going low in price for the starter sets, 500 yen each. Because trying to get people into card games is hard enough.
Yeah, that's really what it amounts to. Like, you can tell that this is something where they're actually trying to market games, going, hey, collect these cards because they look cool.
Yes.
They look cool.
Yeah, so the first sets are themed after, no real surprise here, it's Agumon, Gabumon, and Patamon. I will say I like the back of the card design. It feels like it's kind of going after the old Hyper Coliseum back a little bit. Yeah, the new card game's in April, but they're going to have promo card version 00 out a bit earlier, which will not be buyable, it appears, It looks like the cards will be normal cards just early for people who want to collect them, which is kind of neat. I would say the overall most interesting to me is they're going very battle spirity with the artwork.
Yeah, which is that's a positive because the
No, it
Battle
is.
Spirit artwork is awesome.
Yeah, and the other nice thing, of course, is that we can already see from some of the promotional art they will be going past adventure for this.
Yeah.
Like, we see Vmon, we see Liomon, we see Dracomon. Not, although I have to admit, the art of Agumon holding the card just looks wrong in every way to me. Because, like, you have Agumon holding the card, he looked kind of angry, and it's like, I don't know, I'm not sure Agumon can pull off that look at being like a hardcore card player.
They'll have to invent a new form of Agumon for that.
Yeah. And the packaging has that sort of our war game background look to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there will be lots
Good
of
luck.
It's hard to comment because card games aren't really our things. At some point, we'll have to kidnap Toya to come on and tell us about stuff.
Yeah, Toya's been on. Yeah, Toya's been on top of this.
Yeah, although it's worth mentioning
the card game is Toya's account.
Yeah, it's worth mentioning. He's actually said the way energy gathering in this game works is very different and unique. Where I guess it goes into a central pot based on when you end your turn, and anyone can use from that central pot. So you're strategizing based on where energy will be and what you want to do, knowing the other person might screw you.
And I'm not being flippant. Toya being
no. Toya is the card guy.
Person to check out the Toya's Twitter to get some insights onto some of the mechanics that he's uncovered in this game, and constant jokes about the implications of Leomon deaths in the card game.
Yeah. If you want card game stuff, he's the person to listen to. We're kind of just going, oh, well, that's pretty artwork.
Yeah, which is usually enough for
most people
which is a good segue because we're talking about Battle Spirits in a second.
Yeah, and even talking about Battle Spirits, most people who are importing Battle Spirits and who will import the Digimon card game aren't. And I don't say it to be mean or flippant. They're not importing it to play the game. They're importing it because, ooh, pretty Digimon art, and I can get a bunch, and it's not expensive.
Which is why this game having really cool art is a positive.
Yeah. So they announced Battle Spirits Last Evolution a while ago. We got our first look at art from V-Jump and the same promo shots up on the official site. I will say the four Agumon, Vmon, Gabumon, and Wormmon, the actual art of them, I feel like it doesn't look as nice as the cards they had before. It has kind of like, and it may just be the version on the promo poster shaded weird because the cards look a bit better.
Yeah.
It's just a kind of weird shading to it. And
I mean, given what we've gotten from Battle Spirits before, there's a high bar.
Yeah.
Like, we have expectations for these guys. Like, normally they'd be fine for Battle Spirits. It's sort
of Battle Spirits
underwhelming.
We do get the campaign cards featuring Taichi Yamato, Daisuke, and Ken from KIZUNA in that art style. I want to say probably drawn by the animation director based on how on model those are.
Yeah.
Those are out February 29th, basically a week after the movie. Yeah, we haven't seen too much art yet. It feels like we're just about at the point where they're going to start the tradition of chucking art at us. And the last bit of Battle Spirits news, it's hard to say if this is news or if this is like a legitimate misprint, which is they may be referring to a level above Ultimate called God level, but like people are split in half who even follow the card game, which is the terms do fit into Battle Spirits stuff, but they're not sure if the wording is right. And then you have people who are very upset that they are going to have a God level and not reference Super Ultimate, which, I mean, we've gone over it before. Super Ultimate's not a level.
Yeah.
When it's used as a level, it's used for organizational purposes. Super Ultimates are just Ultimates.
Yeah.
That's slightly confused by the fact that English card games and stuff have called it Ultra, which gives the appearance.
Yeah, it's Ultra in Cyber Sleuth as well.
Yeah, but that's organizational stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, to be fair, this could be organizational also. It's sort of like the
it is still a card game, so organizational is not a bad thing.
But it's
you
like
want to be able to sort that for rules purposes.
It is better than the X3 V-Pets, which is Ultimate, Ultimate, and Ultimate, which fans have generally just gone to saying Ultimate 1, Ultimate 2, Ultimate 3.
Oh, good God.
Because here's the thing.
Not that that's any different from Baby 1 and Baby 2, but...
No, geez. But it's one of those things where if they wanted to call it Super... If Super Ultimate, quote-unquote, counted, that'd be a great place to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's it for Battle Spirits. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what some of the art looks like, especially if they do some promo cards. Because some of the Battle Spirits promo cards were like out of left field in the past. Like like the first set was just vanilla adventure, and then the promo cards were try.
Yeah, they stepped up.
Yeah,
with that.
And then
it'll be fun. It'll be fun to get others.
And then the 1.5 promo card was Zubamon for no reason. That was fun and stupid, because there's nothing else from the V-Pets in there. It was just a neat little touch. Moving on from technically card games, but more us talking about art, we have finally some music information for KIZUNA, which they've talked about, they've hinted at. We finally have most of the album art and stuff like that. So they're doing 4 CDs. There's no background music announced for now. Let's see. We didn't get background music for Try, as I recall. We did for Atmon, though, which was neat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So Butterfly's the normal version, and the CD... I have to admit, I honestly thought it was going to be the pose from the original CD, which they even remade for the Butterfly Music Library one. I honestly thought we'd see the end. Instead, we get Taichi and Agumon at the beach. I like the art, but the pose doesn't really work unless you were to imagine like Sora or Yamato standing there taking the photo. So that
don't think about it in those terms. Yeah,
I normally
the art for these are actually, that sort of applies to all of them. The art's okay. The posing is sort of uninspired to me.
The posing for all of them the posing in general all feels like indie rock band covers. So the CD comes with Butterfly 7 karaoke versions of both and a DVD of Butterfly piano version. Then there's Braveheart, Last Evolution version, which the cover, I feel like a lot of people got excited by the cover because the visual is very specific.
Yeah.
And of course, Try didn't use the visual, but it's interesting. That has the new version of Braveheart, the old one, karaoke of both. Then this is the most album coverish one, which is the new end credits theme from AIM, Even If We're Apart, where they're all just like walking off in different directions, and you can see various landmarks in reflections.
It's very album covery. It also strikes me as kind of lazy. Like,
it is.
I have no feelings.
The weirdest thing is it feels like the 6th spot is meant to be Takaru, and instead you get Mimi there looking confused.
Mimi's just sort of like, oh, it's an I'm CD, so I suppose I need to be here.
That's exactly what it is, but doesn't it really feel like that if you look at like who's there in the layout, that's meant to be Takaru?
Oh yeah, totally.
And then, so we get that. We get a 2020 version of Ashita wa Tashi no Kaze ga Fuku.
Finally getting a remix of this.
People were the
Superior Zero 2 ending.
People were very excited by this. We get karaoke's of both. And then the last one, which we don't have art of yet, which is What Lies Ahead by Ayumi Miyazaki. And that also includes a second song by him, which suggestive name, Missing Each Other in the Future. No artwork for this one yet. I feel Like, if you were to ask me why we don't have the artwork, I feel like we've all come to the same conclusion, which is it shows the new Digimon on it.
Maybe.
I mean, I can't think of any other reason why they'd be hiding it at this point. But don't worry, I'm sure they're gonna spoil the new Digimon for us in V-Jump 6 days before the movie's out.
Oh, of course they will.
Yeah.
Or in a some sort of a charm.
Yes. Or in a Tokubon 2 weeks before.
I feel like they would have announced that by now if they were going to do that.
I'll be honest, I kind of expected it yesterday.
Yeah.
It's almost refreshing that they haven't yet.
Although that would have been really ballsy to not really to not have any to have very little actual new content and then say, "Hey, here's the next one in 2 weeks."
Yeah, but that also does kind of jump to differences with Try, which we'll get into. I'm still looking forward to what the 4th CD cover looks like.
Sure.
And still on KIZUNA, we got translated interview with producer Konoshita, actually a multi-part interview. Lots of interesting stuff here, even if it's not particularly deep.
It's not deep, but it sort of clarifies a few things.
Like, it clarifies exactly when he showed up to Digimon, some of the things that helped inspire him, even like how the memorial shorts came together.
Yeah.
I like how he admitted they always expected to hit the number for the crowdfunding. They didn't expect it to be done within an hour.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, did anyone really have doubts about that? They couldn't have had doubts about that.
No. He had no doubts it would hit the goal they set. Yeah. He had no actual doubts. He was surprised how quickly it hit. We're not going to go over the interview in detail because this is the kind of thing where realistically you need to read it for yourself. But
yeah,
they went over quite a bit in here.
It sort of reassures people about some things, like the fact that this was in production well before Try was over, which was pretty obvious.
Well, it was even earlier than we expected, to be honest.
Yeah, like you could tell with the last Try movie that there was going to be something else, but they were even planning it during like the 5th movie.
Yeah,
which was a bit kind of surprising.
Yeah.
I like the part where he said he would have really like he knew he had to get the 02 kids in there, but he really wanted to use other season characters if he could have.
Well, what's interesting is he hasn't been around that long, but he's really integrated himself into the minds of fans really quickly, just with his general mood. His mood is always so bright.
Yeah.
Like people were amused when I took the photo of him showing up for the panel where he had the Tai Chi shirt, he was like drinking a Frappuccino and he was just like laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, the guy's always smiling. It's just pleasant to see.
Yeah. And then with the kids in the other series, I've half joking, half serious. It's like there's really nothing stopping kids from the other series from showing up in the reboot. Like that's not out of bounds for one of the other seasons to just make a cameo.
Well, they've done it before, like Ruki showing up in movie 4. You can always do those little cameos without worrying about story or having them even be relevant. You can just have them show up.
Yeah, I mean, I would have them like not necessarily be super relevant, but sort of being a one-off cameo.
Yeah, we'll see.
Voiced even, why not? But also,
I think the voice issue comes up where if you're going to recast everyone and have cameos,
recast everyone, then you kind of have to move on. But
yeah,
I mean, I say voice, like you could revoice them as well.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I recommend reading the interview for yourself for anyone who wants, because there's way too much there for us to actually go over.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of interesting stuff from someone who really has only been around for 2.5, 3 years at this point. Like, we don't know when he joined up for movie 5, for Try Part 5 is the main question. But that's around when he started. Yeah, so moving on from that, finished up Digimonica late last year. The Digivolving Duskamon figure, which I was a bit surprised how few people had actually seen or even knew this thing existed. because this was a theoretically canceled figure, and one of the nicer US molds, to be honest. It's just interesting to see. Very nice to get the photos from FZX to show it off. I don't know. It's a neat look to a figure that, I mean, the US molds for the old Digimon figures were never the greatest, so it's just nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, the Digimon card premium editions. I'm trying to think what to say about these, because like these are all really nice, but they're all the most stereotypically expected things possible. For some reason, I just really like the card of X7 though. I don't think there's much else to say about these though. It would have been nice if Atmon was included. I understand that's not the time to introduce them though into the card game.
Atmon is in a, speaking of which, Atmon is in a really weird place with the way they're kind of pushing everything forward, because there's no Atmon content on the new website. Like that might not, like I'm not so much with the they have the first episode of seasons 1 through 6, not including Atmon there. That I can understand for logistical reasons, but I'm not saying it's like
it's on the anime website.
Okay, it's on the anime website?
It's on the website for the new movie in where they have the list of all the anime stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I cannot load that page because that page tries to autoplay a trailer, and that yeah. But yeah, it is there, and Atmon has been listed in all the stuff they've done for like they showed when they started up the anime trailer at News Navigation.
That part is that's not what I'm referring to. It's more, integrating Atmon like into the reference and stuff like that.
Well, in some cases, it's still licensing stuff still exists for Atmon, like all of its streaming in various places. Sort of like how we very rarely get Cross Wars music mixed in with other stuff.
Yeah, it's just something I'm kind of interested to see, to pay attention to what they do with Atmon going forward.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I do like how they've sort of stopped acting like they're different when it comes to what we'll get into in a minute or two. So first up, Lead Up is continuing, a few new shows. I need to try to do these earlier on Sunday because I always do them in the middle of the night and I'm half dead by the time I do them, which makes it kind of hard to write them up, but we'll see. I need to harass you and May more to do your guest slots.
Yeah, you need to harass us more when it's not podcast time, because my attention is elsewhere right now.
Yeah,
but I think of a series that hasn't been done already.
That's part of my issue, which was that the first one I did for almost a year, and I burned through so much content.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on from that, they're continuing Shiratori. Still doing various Digimon and Atmon. The reference book update with Joshu and Zwart just made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, I guess people thought Joshu wasn't an actual Digimon.
Aww.
I don't know why they think that, because Agumon Hakase has shown up in stuff constantly.
As a separate Digimon, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lazy Digimon. It is just Terriermon with a lab coat, but still, it's...
Now, the important thing is when will he show up as a sprite so we can see how they draw the lab coat? Because Hakase's, I believe his sprite is just an Agumon sprite with the hat.
Mm-hmm.
Here, they have to actually draw a coat on him.
The sprite won't have the coat; it'll have the button.
And
a tie.
Here's the thing: I want to mock, but just doing a little circle with a tiny little dot symbol is actually likely.
I feel like I should take my Terriermon plushie at some point and just add a lab coat, a tie, and a button, and just say he's.
Now, interesting thing for everyone out there listening. We don't generally go through all these. I'm thinking about not including these in the future unless there's actual interesting ones to go over, just because lots of images.
Yeah.
So that's the type of thing where if you guys actually want us to keep, going over these quickly, let us know, because otherwise I'm not sure this will show up in the future. Although, to be honest, I admit this time I probably would have included a few just to comment on Terriermon Joshu.
Oh.
Because
there's really nothing. There's nothing to say about these other than they exist and they're worth. I mean, the existence of them is worth calling out because they have. But there's good. It's good art of them. It incorporates Appmon very regularly, and some of the descriptions are sometimes interesting.
It is, but part of the reason we started doing it in the first place was with X2 and X3. There were new Digimon being included. Like, we had never seen the art. There was no profile information here. None of this is even. Most of this.
When new Digimon show up, we can talk about that. But that's not the case here.
Yes, although I would have included Josh. I'm being completely honest, just to bring him up. And the funnier part was they even brought back him talking on Twitter for 1 or 2 times after they did it.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly for him just to comment that, hey, he got included. Because
the same thing as Appmon inclusion. It's like, yes, it still exists.
But that was the actual theme they went with back when they were doing it for the X1, which was, it wasn't just that they were making tweets, it's that Joshu specifically was introducing them.
Mm-hmm.
And moving on to Survive and Realize, it's weird because it feels like we've gotten very little, but we've actually gotten a decent amount of stuff. It's just there's been so much other stuff that Survive.
It's been a trickle, but it's a trickle that we need to pay attention to.
So we got more Survive story details and cast information for Saki and Floramon, and a better look at the. We thought Saki had gotten a haircut. It's just like creative art.
Mm-hmm.
We really thought she'd gotten a haircut, I think. It just was how the V-Jump image looked.
Yeah.
And then we finally got Shuji introduced, which... What's weird...
Shuji has a bunch of flags.
Yeah, what's weird is we had thought he was Joe, and it looks like... It feels more like he's Taichi who's going to die.
Yeah.
And his partner...
Shuji is either going to die or he's going to be a surprise.
Yes. And his Digimon partner helps with either of those choices, which is Lopmon.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Lopmon's another one that can go either.
Yeah. So it's hard to say what will happen with Shuji, but it feels like it's a coin flip.
It's one of those where
it won't surprise us either way.
There's a bunch of predictions you can make about it, and one of them is going right.
Yes. And then Rearise is having a Last Evolution KIZUNA event, which oddly, no Last Evolution KIZUNA style artwork. They're going with Adventure and O2 stuff. And I have to say, Vemon with the goggles, I love.
Yeah, this is one of those times when I wish that the international version would be willing to go forward and catch up with the Japanese version.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that the it's sort of embarrassing when the English version New Year's celebration was the year of the pig, because that was what they did last year in Japan. It's like it's like, all right, you can stop Vicaralamon.
Hooray!
Instead of fighting Kumbiramon, which would be a lot more weird, a lot more disappointing for a Clash battle.
Yeah. And then News Navigation had about a minute of new footage. Footage doesn't look good to me, to be honest. I understand that's how visual novels look like.
It's very visual novelty.
But
also, I can't get the visual of Falcomon's teeth.
Yeah, that's one of those times where maybe they should have skipped I don't know. It's just the mouth and head movement just doesn't look good to me.
It's very not fluid.
No,
and rigid. It's very visual novelty, which I can see it.
No.
I'm not gonna take points off of it. It's just not that impressive.
That's 100% fair. That is how that genre looks. It still doesn't look good, though, is my issue.
That's one thing where the genre as a whole just doesn't look good, and it's
Yeah.
maybe not something you want to just broadcast and saying, hey, you know how kind of look crap on this end? We're doing that too.
And oddly, I think part of the reason why it looks bad is because Cyber Sleuth's version of that didn't look good, but it was at least like fluid animation.
Yeah, Cyber Sleuth looked better in that sense.
Yeah, Cyber Sleuth still didn't do that great, and like Victor will still pop up in Cyber Sleuth threads on Reddit complaining about that. But yeah, this is a step down in that, but this is also what the genre it's hard to like you don't want to kick it because that's what the genre is, but also they don't have to literally be 1-1 to the genre.
Well, even if they are 1-1 to the genre, again, it's like why call it out?
Yeah. And the Onke did translations of the Q&A stuff, and man, these were bland. I mean, there is some interesting stuff there, but these are barely like... If you had told me these weren't really the questions sent in, I wouldn't be shocked.
Mm-hmm.
These read as like perfectly chosen questions to answer the exact thing they wanted to say.
Yeah. I mean, it's the stuff that we're curious about, but it's not really that insightful.
No. And to be fair, if you've missed information, this is going to catch you up better than anything we can say. But
you could say that about the whole...
I know.
Diginavi was like that.
But I feel like people looking forward to Survive feel a little bit more kicked than the rest of us. Because
they were also looking for a release date.
Yeah, they were beyond looking for a release date. They were sure it was happening, and I think we kind of went, this isn't really a game thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the night before, Habu was like, "There's not a lot of time for the game corner. We're not answering non-survive questions that were sent in. We'll try to get to those later if we can." Once he made clear they didn't have much in the way of time, I didn't think there was going to be much new because... I mean, they don't...
I was sort of confused when he said that there wasn't going to be much for time, and then we saw that it was only good, which, given what they had to announce, was a good call.
Well, yeah, it's also worth mentioning, it's actually good that they weren't ramping up advertising Survive there, because it would have been railroaded by the new show and movie news. Which is what
we were saying before about releasing stuff sporadically leading up to it, and then kind of using the Diginavi as a summary. Like, that's honestly kind of a good way to do it.
No, it is, but a lot of people were really just ramped up to like that Survive was going to start going full bore right then. And and that's the thing. If it did, that would have been exciting, but it would have been railroaded by the movie and TV stuff we're in the midst of now even.
Yeah.
And even Habu's, he posted on Twitter at the end, a lot of the Survive updates to come will be in V-Jump. That's because they can
That's a better place to put them anyway.
Yeah, they can focus what will be released, and they don't have to battle against their own brand marketing because it's going to be a lot of anime. Like for people who aren't big for the Digimon anime, next few months are going to be hard on you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much all anime for now until Adventure gets going.
Yeah. And a rare time when we get to talk about X Evolution. It was the 15th anniversary of the TV special.
And that covers our discussion of X Evolution for the day.
Yes. I still do hope, all joking aside, and I'm not a huge fan of X Evolution, I hope the assets still exist somewhere so they can render them out for a nice Blu-ray so that people can enjoy it not looking like ugly. Like it's still gonna look.
I would like to see it fully rendered. That's true.
Yeah, yes, it's still gonna look like ugly trash, but it will at least be pleasant to look at.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. And see, this was the one where when we got to do this, like perfect for May, but May's not in town at the moment. Australia's getting complete sets only a year and a half after the rest of the world.
Yeah, this feels like old news, even if it's not.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, their discs are cheap and affordable and everything at this point, so it's not anything they really need to worry about. But it's nice for them to get the complete sets. That's coming out April 15th.
I assume May owns Tri in some capacity.
No, she has the Blu-rays.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And then Animate announced some of their collaborations, which first up is the in-store, where if you buy 3,000 yen in Digimon Adventure stuff, you get a very nice mini Shikishi. Like,
yeah, that's a really expensive poster, and it's kind of worth it to buy all the other kitschy crap to get that.
yeah.
It's a very nice art.
Now, what's interesting is it does just say Digimon Adventure stuff, so you do not have to buy exclusive current. Like, you could just buy CDs or DVDs or whatever you're buying. It does not look like it's specific to new junk.
Okay. Well, that's relieving.
And then the Digimon kitchen car returns. I don't know why I'm so amused when they bring this out, because it's only the second time, but it still does amuse me. Like, we get the little icon with Agumon with the drink.
Mm-hmm.
This time, they're trekking around this time, because last time I think it just sat outside the biggest Animate store. This time they're checking around to a few other places. The menu is interesting. I mean, we get the hot dog, we get the sandwich. Let us each pick one drink to go over. I will allow you to go first, AR. Which drink would you like to discuss?
I'll be honest, I did not bother looking at the... You pick first, and
Okay.
I'll see if I can...
The one I will discuss is Joe and Gomamon's Sincerity Gray drink, because Joe and Mimi's always like, when they do drinks, they're so specific to get the color, it always kind of looks disgusting. Mm-hmm. Like, Joe's is a gray goop.
Yeah, and also you have to have the sesame pun every time.
Yes. But the drinks this time are, I mean, they get the colors for sure. I think last time when they did, I think the drinks last time were themed after each part of Try worked better. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they did last time. There was so much.
These all kind of run together. I've sort of lost the novelty of having these custom drinks is sort of gone. And it's like, okay, they're still doing this.
To be fair, it's better than the custom food, because, like, okay, the Agumon Taichi one is hot dog and there's cheese on top, which is the color. And they don't even try with the Yamato one, which is just a yakisoba sandwich with Tabasco sauce. There's nothing. The only thing there is Gabumon spits fire, but it's not even red fire.
Mm-hmm. I guess the one I would point out is Hikari and Elmon's is like pink lemonade base, whipped cream, gummy snack top with Onaga, which sounds great, except it's listed as a hot beverage.
Yes, a lot of people have been commenting the hot. See, I don't think that's that odd, because you have lemon with hot water and tea and stuff. I think it's more where they specify it as lemonade, which is a bit odd.
Cherry and lime.
Yeah.
Cherry and lime flavored lemonade.
Yeah, and all the artwork for all this stuff is the memorial art, which interesting. The products, the acrylic stands are nice. I like that they come in the little sets. The pouch, I don't know, I like the art in the pouch, but we've never seen this art before, as far as I can tell. Mm-hmm. The clear files are nice. These square can badges, I don't know why I like the look of these, to be honest. I think it's because the can badges are always so generic that even having any change makes them kind of nice, and they're all themed well.
It sort of goes with that anniversary artwork, because that was originally presented as a grid.
Yeah.
So, sort of preserving that with these can badges instead of trying to round them out.
Yeah.
Is sort of a nice touch.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because, I mean, we're getting a lot more collaborations, some of which they've only going back to the pop-up theater so quickly feels like it was obvious, but also feels a bit surprising, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the pace was when Try was about to pop.
Well, because generally it would be around each time one started, but we just had one.
Yeah.
So it feels a bit.
They got another screening to do. So.
Yeah, they have to do Hole in the Heart, which is based on the fact that it's Agumon and Gabumon. I think we can safely say the other side is Taichi and Yamato.
Mm-hmm. Well, they said that this was sort of going along with a scene in KIZUNA, so you're supposed to watch KIZUNA first and then come back to this short to get a side story of it, which will
Yeah.
probably be, Taichi and Yamato are doing something. So while
Well,
they're doing that, this is what Agumon and Gabumon were
I
doing.
have to be honest. I actually assumed it was the scene of them where they're kind of at the bar eating ramen and drinking.
Could be.
Just for some reason,
I'm not gonna try speculating what scenes like. There's,
I'm not speculating. It's more that's where my mind goes to.
Modern Digimon. There's probably going to be 50 scenes of just
Yeah.
Taichi and Yamato
So
doing something.
we will see what products pop up that are new and what pop up from the last store. I would not be shocked if there's a lot of overlap, but we will see. We sort of got an update for the Idolmaster one. By sort of, I mean they said, we're still working on it. It will be out late in February, wink, wink. And we get tiny bits of art that are very clearly meant to be like those room decorations you buy for the game.
Yeah.
Although they refuse to actually comment on that, but even people who play the game have shown screenshots of the rooms and say, yeah, those are decorations.
Yeah.
And the last and best one, Kumamon Adventure.
Kumamon Adventure.
Because the character Kumamon, who's the mascot character of Kumamoto Prefecture celebrating his 10th anniversary, they redid the post. This is so stupid and I love it.
It's stupid because it's Agumon. Like, they're replicating the poster and just sticking with Agumon instead of going with a more relevant Digimon character, one of which in the English dub is actually called Kumamon.
Well, I assume that's why they don't want it to be a bear one. It has to be Agumon because it's Agumon. But I love how, just like with...
For now, I would be shocked if some of the extra goods, there's got to be some sort of art somewhere along the line with Bearmon or Chalkmon.
I will say, my favorite part of this is the same thing that always made everyone laugh with Sukumon Adventure, which is that they actually changed the logo.
Oh, yeah.
And they've already started putting these up. We've already gotten photos from people of the posters up because they're putting up 500 of them at tourist facilities. Sorry, go ahead.
What amuses me most about this is that, previous location, touristy stuff is usually because, they've sort of done this before when a location appears in Try or something.
Yeah.
This is just because the mascot is named Kumamon.
Yes. I hope we get photos of the bus they're going to be running, which is... it's just dumb and fun. I do hope we get photos of it, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is they haven't actually specified there's going to be goods for sale. They've said there will be items given away.
Oh, okay.
Now, I would be shocked if they're not selling stuff, but they have not actually said there would be goods as far as I'm aware. For whatever reason, every single...
There you can give a Shikishi of Kumamon and Chalkmon away as a prize.
No, they're going to do what they... and people do ask about this a lot. If Toei is going to do more of those super expensive posters, they could do one of these.
Oh, God.
Like, people forget they did like 8 or 9 of those for Try, and they actually sold. Don't get me wrong, I like Try. I'm not spending $200 or whatever it is for a poster. I'm not, no. So on top, we'll have a lot of collaboration stuff to talk about next time, I'm sure. Because we're going to have the pop-up store, the music cafe we still don't have details of.
Oh, yeah, that's going on too.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting.
I completely forgot about that.
And the Walled 9 and other theaters often did their own little menu things, so it'll be interesting to see what crops up. We do have some product updates. The third wave of graph art products can be ordered normally. I still like this one, although it feels like because we got so many of these so quickly, people were more excited with the circus ones.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, it probably doesn't help. It probably doesn't help that half of these are redrawn versions of official art.
Yeah.
But we'll
I mean,
see.
at the same time, that's a nice throwback.
No,
Like,
it is.
I appreciated that it was repeating other art. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been interested in this.
I
Like,
feel.
I'm not interested in the Adventure Kids with this set.
Yeah, I'd be more excited if this was something I could just walk into a store and buy.
Well, that generally applies to most of the
it does, but some of it, like in the past, I've had someone grab stuff. Here, it's just importing it costs too much, and just yeah. While the first pop-up store closed, we did get information about the lucky bag, and we actually got comments from people who had it. The only new item was the lunchbox, and the odd thing is it does not feel like a value like these are supposed to be, but everyone who got one's super happy.
Okay.
It's very odd, and even the people I talked to got it all agree it does not have the high value you associate with a decent lucky bag, but everyone's very happy with it for some reason. And I'm not sure why. No, but you know what I mean. Like, this is not like you. Like, even in the even looking up lucky bags, you expect them to be very nice compared to the price, and here it's kind of like, it's all right. It has a kind of okay exclusive thing, but everyone seems to like it, so good for them. I like every image of the flat Tailmon and Patamon. That's what I'll say. That's the best part of this. And we got an update on the most important Digimon product, Stuffed Collection Wormmon.
You're not wrong. That sounded like you were being sarcastic.
No. I'm being partially sarcastic because it is just another plush in that line, but everyone is super fucking excited for this one.
Like, I tell you, of all the merch announced in this episode, the Wormmon is the one I would want to get.
Oh no, a lot of people really want this one. Like, it looks very nice. These haven't generally been super expensive. They've been available to order from the US, so you don't have to deal with the intermediary fees or shipping fees. It goes up for pre-order February 7th. It ships in June, so we'll be talking about this next episode for sure. Mm-hmm. And I would not be shocked if we got a Vmon or a Chibimon right after.
Yeah, Vmon I could see. Chibimon, I'm not. I mean, I get the appeal of Chibimon.
Well,
Vmon is more likely.
Here's why I say Chibimon. There was a Chibimon plush when O2 was going, and that thing sold like crazy. You would see it all over the fucking place. So if Chibimon appears in the movie at all, I feel like that's the type of one where they make a plush of him. Even if Vmon's the obvious one to do. But we will see. And then we have the new products, which kind of run like between all kinds of stuff. So first up, 2 new Agumon Crane Game prize plushies. I feel like we've seen like this exact plush before.
These feel fluffier. I don't know if that's...
I just mean like the pose, like the art where he's almost like leaning over. I feel we've seen this
pretty much seen before.
Yeah,
the design looks the texture looks different on them.
Yeah, so these show up February 5th in Japan, so just a week and a half away. If you had to pick one, normal or with goggles?
With goggles, totally. Probably because I already have like 2 or 3 Agumon plushes, but none of them have goggles.
I feel bad for anyone who visits Japan and then is just going to be pumping money into a Crane game trying to get one of these. And then as a fun surprise, second wave of USV pets. We get the nice clear candy shells, and I believe May or someone else said one of them is actually the scheme from the Australia only version 6. I'm not super VPET guy, so I don't know, but I want to say it's the purple one. US pre-orders have opened at a few places, but most people I'm guessing will get them from Amazon or GameStop like last time. And the odd thing is these are coming like based on dates and stuff, it looks like these are coming in February. So we're not going to be playing What If for half a year like we did last time.
Yeah.
And just earlier today, we got the exclusive eggs are going to be Lunamon and Coronamon. Which, as much as even I was guessing at what they may be, that feels like the obvious choice since they are a pair.
That's one that makes sense when you're like, those two.
Yeah, because when you're thinking about it, you're thinking, okay, there's 3 of them. They could just do what they could do 2 here, 2 here. They could do 2 here, 1 and 1. When you hear Lunamon and Coronamon, it makes you go, oh, it's like that makes sense when it's said.
That's the partnership that constantly gets forgotten.
Yes. And they, as much as we talked about CSA Digivices earlier, they announced the last evolution version, which it's the tri mold and the tri antenna, but they've molded in the little cracks. It's what's funny is in the trailer, I thought this was a Tai Chi activated color, and the more we see it, the more it kind of feels like it's not meant to be.
It's not specifically his.
No, I know, but I meant like when we first saw it in the trailer, it felt like it was a take on orange.
Yeah.
And now that we're seeing, like, this is gold. This is not.
This is gold.
Yeah. This probably is not his, unless Yamato's is like a neon blue or something.
It's probably sort of when it hits this state, it sort of flashes this color.
Yeah. But we know this
could be anybody's.
Yeah. But we know this is meant to tie into the last evolution. Of course, the interesting thing is they have sort of given away one little bit, which is last evolution may not be referring to the end, but rather that this is it is a new final form. Yeah, exactly.
God mode.
Yeah.
Or God level, I should say.
But yeah, the price for this is basically $80-ish, in line with what we've seen before. I'm still a little disappointed that it feels like, because this is the 4th one of this mold, even the 99, it feels like the antenna was never quite there to what it was in the original anime. So I kind of like the try one makes sense, but the adventure antenna, it was more just like an angled antenna. It didn't really feel like it did adventure. It felt like they were trying to make it not try, which makes sense. But I would have liked to have seen a more done to the original anime. And then really, really small like to the point that most people haven't been discussing it because there was so much. These kind of fell by the wayside. At Jumbo Card-Ass Machines, they're doing A5 size mini posters. That's like about half the size of a piece of paper. There are going to be 8 of them. They showed Omegamon KIZUNA style artwork, which looks really nice. And these are only 200 yen each, so about $1.50. If these get sold online, I'd probably grab a few of them and frame them. And then they're bringing back the card premium edition for 2 KIZUNA sets. They've sort of given away something here, which is these will be sold in theaters showing KIZUNA, so we're going to get the wave of theater merchandise.
Oh, yeah.
And there's some sort of exclusive gift if you buy them together. I would assume it will be 2 cards again. It was easier when I knew someone who was in Japan at the time to grab them. These are going to be more of a pain. I don't know. I like the artwork for them. It'll be interesting to see what other cards show up. And I'm just trying to think, like, I love the look of the new keychains so much.
Oh yeah.
We only have art so far, but the Figural keychains are back for Wave 2. And the lineup is not what I would have expected for Wave 2, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
So we get Tai, Koromon, Matt, Tsunamon, Sora, Yokomon, Izzy, Modimon, and then Devamon, Edamon, and Leomon.
I like the lineup.
No, I like the lineup.
Different.
I would have expected something like higher forms from Adventure. Getting like Modimon's gonna look fucking amazing.
Oh yeah, Modimon's gonna be for sure. Tsunamon will be good too.
Tsunamon will be good if they do it in 3D. Tsunamon I could very easily see being one of the flatter ones.
Oh yeah, like with Tentomon. Yeah.
Yeah, like Modimon. We riot if Modimon is flat. Modimon needs to be like the full 3D.
Yeah,
I
needs to be
have to say the Leomon head looks amazing.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah.
I want to actually see these.
Yeah.
Actual figures.
Yeah.
Like just seeing them in 2D doesn't do them justice.
I will say I'm very happy that we do not have any cases of Goomba this time.
Yeah.
Because like if they just move Agumon's eyes a bit, the Agumon would have been so much nicer. And instead, I still
don't know. The final Edamon might look like that.
Maybe
concern me.
Maybe the Devimon like smile I like.
Well, yeah.
Where it's just but these are nice. These are gonna be basically $6, and it looks
I can guarantee as soon as I pick one, the first one I buy is going to be Devimon because that I keep telling everyone that Devimon's my least favorite villain in the franchise.
You've cursed yourself, AR.
It's destiny.
But yeah, these overall look less questionable than Wave 1 did, at least.
For now. We'll see what happens when
we'll see.
Yeah.
At the very least, there won't be a wait for them, because there was solicitation information for these like 6 or 7 months before they came out, to the point that I thought it was fake, which is why we waited so long to report on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were just sitting on a web page for like 6 or 7 months with no art or anything. I really hope the Sunamon one's in 3D. I feel like it's gonna be flat though, to be honest, because the spike.
Oh yeah, you have to,
yeah.
But the Tsunomon one and being flat doesn't bother me as much as the Modimon one.
Yeah, Modimon
or even Koromon to some degree.
See, Koromon I could almost see being flat because they want to have stability on the ears. Because if those are flat, you know what I mean? They'll be more solid pieces.
Yokomon kind of has to be flat, right?
I feel like Yokomon has to be flat because it would just take too much effort to do it 3D properly.
You can't 3D those stems.
Devimon with the wings kind of makes me think he might be 3D. But we'll see. I mean, we'll be discussing those again. And the last new product, which from the Digimon News Navigation, the amplified figure model kit figure line is continuing with Metal Grumon, and he looks pretty nice.
Yeah, he looks good.
The mouth being able to move is great. I think I like this one more than War Greymon, to be honest.
That's fair. Yeah.
Although I will say the weird thing is the colors look so nice in the render, but the actual model kit they showed looks so much better than the render does. Like, something about the render doesn't look quite right compared to seeing him posed as a kit.
Yeah.
Now, you skipped these, correct?
Skip which ones?
You skipped getting the model kits, correct?
I'm undecided right now. Like, I haven't gotten one yet, but I still might.
I have the first two. I haven't done anything with them yet because to me, it's not like the figures where scanned the box, took a couple photos, and then threw up an article. I don't have the time to build them properly, and I feel like if I'm going to do an article about them, I have to actually have... I can't just take photos of the runners. I have to have the actual kit built.
Yeah, and I get that, but I don't do model kits, but I kind of want to.
I haven't done them in years. The problem is, it's the type of thing where you can easily become obsessed.
Yeah, well, I'm not into Gundam, so I'm not too worried about that.
True. But yeah,
like,
so
I'm not a Gundam fan, so that sort of insulates me from being addicted to model kits.
To be fair, the last time I built a Gundam kit was probably in 2001 when I conned a teacher into thinking it had something to do with Dragon Ball as part of a project.
Oh.
Because it said Shenron on the box, and I was able to show them that Shenron was a thing in Dragon Ball.
It's a thing in Journey to the West.
Yes. Now you have to remember.
It's Chinese literature. Come on.
You have to remember this is circa 2000, and it was hard for them to look up stuff, so it was very easy to con them into making that happen. That's it for new products, but sorry,
yeah,
good.
like I haven't committed to buying one yet. It's entirely possible I will come home from Anime Central with a War Greymon kit in my pack.
And then UL Force Vidramon. It's
I would show that off in the Diginavi too.
It's available to order finally, and oddly, a bunch of people ordered it. Like, do you know how many people I've heard from? At least like 12 or 13, more than any of the others from people who ordered it. Not because they're hoping for it to like lead to stuff. They just want this figure.
Sure. There's a precious dearth of V-Tamer merchandise.
And it comes with a Shikishi by Tenya Yabuno because, that's because,
because of his
Digimon Savers.
Digimon Savers.
Yeah. This is the one where, like, I feel like even these...
They are really not even pretending that this is a Digimon Savers figure.
No. They're not trying very hard.
I found that was hilarious.
But even like
Digimon Savers figure of Force Vidramon with a Yaten Shikishi.
But even the background information when they talk about it, they're like, yeah, so the base is based off when he first appeared in V-Tamer, and we modeled it after the artwork from the manga, where the character's known from, and of course he also appears in Digimon Savers. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
Yep. Okay.
Ships in June.
We've joked joked about this a lot.
Yeah.
So.
And then we have questions. So while you guys think of questions, we'll look at some of the prepared ones. So the biggest question that we got this time was some form of combination of, will KIZUNA get a dub? Does it being subtitled in theaters mean it won't get a dub? Will the new series get a dub? Just every combination of anything, to be honest. So we will start. AR, do you believe KIZUNA will get a dub?
Yes.
Do you think it being in theaters affects it getting a dub in any way at all?
No.
I think that's about all we will have. Most likely we will have. I would assume we will have a dub by the end of the year. Quite possibly a disc by then.
I mean, I would expect it to be a disc.
Yeah.
Although I guess, a theatrical release of the dub as well, if it is successful. If the sub does really well, they might also do a theatrical screening for the dub.
Yeah, but at that point...
Double dipping is not unheard of.
No.
Didn't Promera get...
Well, Promera had dub and sub at the same time, it's just they did more screenings later.
Okay. Yeah. But they did more screenings later, so that's sort of my point. Like, you could easily do a sub-screening now and then do a dub later if the first one... Or hell, they might do one anyway just to say they did.
Yes, we could very well have a dub screening in May, for all we know.
That's true. Yeah, May seems early, but it's not real.
No.
I would expect it to be more of a fall thing, but that's speculative.
Yeah.
So.
Do you expect a dub of the new anime? Yes. And
at some point.
I have to be honest, it makes a lot more sense why it felt like all of a sudden they were just done with Atmon.
Yeah.
Like really. Why they just chucked it up and went, done, and we all kind of went, okay, maybe they've sold it or maybe something's going on. I mean, we know what is going on now.
They just sort of unloaded because they want to focus on selling this new thing.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing for Atmon, but hey, this new one might have... I mean, this new one might be just as... The reason I wanted an Atmon dub of Atmon seemed very dubbable by the,
Oh, no, absolutely.
Old, the way American dubs were produced for the first 6 seasons, Atmon seemed to be really well suited for a dub like that. There's no... I mean, the new adventure might be just as well suited for it.
Yeah. And then we have... Why is KIZUNA being treated differently than Try for the US and other countries? We've gone over this before, and I think people think we're joking or being facetious or, being snobs when we say it. Mm-hmm. Try is not movies. I know they say they're movies.
Yeah. This is an actual movie.
Yes. Try is OVAs that were given theatrical runs as part of their marketing.
Yeah.
Now
And
here's
it continued to get theatrical runs because it was so popular.
realistically, they were always going to keep doing them for marketing, but they kept extending them because
they kept staying in theaters. Like it was only I think every movie got, or every I say movie,
here's the thing.
Every part of Try got extended beyond what it was originally supposed to.
So here's the thing. At this point, we're 2 years past Try ending. It does not matter if Try was an OVA or a movie. It's a movie at this point. Functionally, for when it came, out, what is movie length OVA? They come out in theaters. The theaters have limited stock of Blu-rays to sell that day, and at the same time, you can already buy and rent it digitally in Japan. You don't have. That's when people kept going, well, do the theater...
Which is why, the fact available digitally in Japan is pretty much why we also got it in America at the same time.
And that's also...
If it wasn't available digitally in Japan, we would not have gotten it in America.
Yeah. But that's also why we got it, because they were OVAs. They were not theatrical films that were meant to... Try in and of itself was an advertisement for stuff. It existing made stuff sell better.
Mm-hmm.
Since this is a movie, their best attempt to get it to us quickly is theater in March, a month later. They just the license for Spain was just announced yesterday, which May, and I believe theirs is going to be dubbed in May already.
Wow, that's impressive.
Which is kind of what makes me think May might make sense for a dub for us.
Yeah, I feel like I would have heard more. I think we would have heard more about it if it was going to be. Not necessarily from official channels, but, voice actors going wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
To be fair, they have been.
About Digimon? I haven't seen any of them.
Joshua Seth winks about it a lot, to be honest.
Well, yeah, he winks about a lot of stuff.
But that's what I mean. Other actors who have said they've been recording stuff, they just haven't commented what they're recording on.
Yeah.
But we'll see. So let's see.
I feel like Joshua Seth had been doing that right away when Part 6 of Try was coming out, and even then the dub didn't get announced until 5 months later.
Yeah. So. But even then, that was because they were doing batch recording, so they just happened to be doing that one really early compared to some of the others.
I'm not arguing that there's going to be a dub. I just don't think it's going to be in May. Yeah. I think they'll give it a little bit of time and do it in summer or fall.
Okay, and Laura's asking, do we know when the KIZUNA DVD will come out? No, and that part of it going back to it being a movie, which is we don't have all the disc information like we did with Try. I would expect July or August based on Toei's general movie schedule.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the big disadvantages to it being a real movie is we do not get the data dumps like we got for the OVAs.
Sure.
Where they just and that's part of why we get the Try box in a week and a half.
Yeah, and then that's another selling point. It's like you don't know when the disc is coming out, so better see it in theaters.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much what the entire cinematic industry relies on.
Yeah. And then someone asked, do you think the new Digimon adventure will cater to kids better than Atmon?
I hope so.
Yeah, it's hard to comment on that because we don't really have... at this point, what we know is it's a kid show and a reboot of Adventure. We don't know what there is because a lot of the catering to them will be done also by products and stuff like that. We don't know if it's going to aim at them properly. We hope so, though.
Yeah, it's like if this is an effort to get new people, get new eyeballs into Digimon, then it better.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like Atmon did a particularly good job of getting a new audience. So
no,
Adventure better do better than that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why it feels like this is a franchise reboot to a degree.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's sort of where the project trailer and the website, like all that is kind of tied together. It's like they're buffering up this.
Yeah. And in fact, that wasn't on the question list, but that's something someone asked was, how do we decide news for the site and the podcast? Do things get held back? Yes, they do. And one of them was specifically something I held back because out of context, it was very suggestive and it ended up being completely correct, which was the Toei Latin America guy who we got the name from last year.
Oh.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There was interviews regarding the movie from a magazine that was printed in January, but the interview would have been October, November, December, and he said, "Yeah, we're relaunching Digimon next year," and the movie's coming out, and there wasn't any information there, so that wasn't really newsworthy because there was no mention of a show, and it was talking about the movie. Mm-hmm. In context now,
yep.
Yeah, but at the time, it still wouldn't have been news to go, so they have a big movie coming out in a few months, and he says they're relaunching the brand. That's what a movie is when there's no show going.
Well, it's a good thing. It's a good thing there is actually stuff you missed on the podcast. You didn't include the podcast.
Oh no, and there's stuff.
Because I was so set to make a joke about you skip stuff.
Yeah, well, even AR sees the list. There often is stuff that's skipped or it's integrated in a way where it can be mentioned quickly.
I do know for a fact that there were a couple
stuff like the photo prints.
And Romy Park getting married was another.
Yeah, stuff where if it were an empty show, we would have mentioned those because we could spend a minute or two just going over them. But we don't know what. Yeah, there's too much stuff to go over this time to mention stuff that. It's not that it's not important. It's just we have other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Looking back there, do you have any wants for the reboot that are even unrealistic? I
wrote a few of them.
I feel like there's a lot of them from both of us.
General wishes I want different. I want them to just really reinvent things.
I want Here are my two wishes. One is obvious, one kind of obvious. I just want it to be good.
Well, yeah.
Like, here's the thing. If it's something completely unexpected to me, what it ends up being, if it's good, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If it's bad, it doesn't matter what they put in it that I may like if I don't want to watch the show.
Right.
And the second thing is with Toei Kids shows, it's always a coin flip if you're going to get Blu-rays or not. I want Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Atmon deserved Blu-rays, Crosswords did, but yeah.
What I think I would like to see from the new series is being less reliant on anything we've seen before, because that was one issue I've always had with the series following Adventure is they always seem to build off of Adventure. And the way some of the gay running jokes or nostalgia items or all that stuff, I want to see less of that in this. I want to see something that somebody who has never seen Digimon before can go into and watch this new series and just understand it without having to go, oh, I didn't get what happened there.
I think
it was like, oh, that was an Easter egg, and
Yeah, I don't think that's unrealistic. I think that's a necessity that even if you throw in stuff like that older fans can appreciate, it has to be completely watchable by someone who has no clue.
Yeah. Which in that sense, I think asking what I want to see
is the wrong question.
Want to see? Yeah, that's the wrong question. It's like it shouldn't matter what we want to see. It should be what a new audience wants to see. Like obviously they want us to join the ride and welcome to.
Yeah. Here's the thing, and this isn't Dragon Ball Super where it was after Z. This is not Digimon Adventure Part 4.
Yeah.
So
this is Digimon Adventure Part 1.
Yes. Exactly. And okay, here's a good question from Stevie. Do you think if it's dubbed that they will keep the dub names? Yes.
I'm not sure about that.
Here's the thing. Toei's never been shy about using the dub names on their own. And I mean, it's not a clue, but the hat says TK. That feels like that's dub bait specifically, so that he has a hat that says TK.
Yeah, I'm not as convinced on that. I guess it's like I get what you're saying. It's like it wouldn't shock me or surprise me, and I think the evidence suggests it's probably what they're gonna do. I kind of wish they didn't.
I guess it depends.
I kind of wish it's like, okay, this is a new. We're turning a page in the series. Let's when we dub this, let's actually use the original names.
I think it depends what the dub ends up being, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing. If it's Toei dubbing it with Studiopolis and they want to sell it to Netflix or to a network or to try to do that, then it's the dub names. If it's Funimation licenses it and their goal is home video and hopefully they get licensing, then yes, it very well may be keeping the original names.
Oh, I think it's the opposite. I think it's the exact opposite. I think if it was Funimation or someone doing a completely new release, they're still going to be primarily targeting older fans of the series, and that they would be more likely to use the older names. Where they're going for a more broader audience, then I think it's more likely that they would say, this is a completely starting over. We're not going to focus on what we did in the past. This is going to be a new thing, and a new thing isn't going to involve, oh, we don't want to use the name Yamato because kids can't pronounce it, which is really backwards thinking.
No, that's what I said. It felt like you were going in one direction. At the very end, you twisted to something else, and I think I made me lose.
So you're saying that if it was a Funi home video release, they would use the original name?
Yes. No. When I
use the old dub names?
No. I'm saying a Funimation one would use the Japanese names.
Oh no, I disagree with that.
See, I think it's how they would aim it. If Funimation's trying to do if they're trying to do one of their simulcast dubs that are aimed at hardcore fans, I think that's the type of dub where they go, we're going to use the Japanese names. This is a new take on it. Blah, 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 blah. Because at that point, the dub is being made available and it's not being aimed at a potential wider TV audience. They're going, this is for the fans. This is a new version.
Yeah, I think that's restricting.
I
think that's not. I think that would not be good marketing.
I
get what you're saying.
I'm not saying I disagree with you on that part. I'm saying if their goal is to get it out quickly and to go, this is for the fans, blah 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 blah, they use those names and they say this is part of how we're differentiating it from the original one. Is we're going the original Japanese names. This is a new take. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm saying I think that's the path they go unless they ramp up marketing super quickly.
Yeah. I think that that's more of a debate on what they would do if they're trying to appeal to older to diehard. If they're trying to appeal to diehard fans, I think that's a stake. That's, I think, where the sticking point is.
Oh, I'm not.
If they're trying to appeal to older Digimon fans, then they use the dub name.
To be clear, I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm saying I think that's what they do, not what they should do.
Okay.
I'm looking at the way they've done it for things in the past where it shows that have had new versions and what they've ended up doing with them.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Do you think we would see... do you think we could see Willis Tri characters or KIZUNA characters have cameos in the reboot? Sure, why not?
That's sort of my go-to with all of this stuff is sure, why not? And it would be kind of fun to have little, like, as much as I don't want to have too many Easter eggs, I think having those little fun throwbacks would be, it would be completely reintroducing them.
Yeah.
And that I think is what, not just having them show up and we all expect to know who they are, but to completely reintroduce the characters.
Okay, here's a good one from Alan. If they wanted to do a new adventure anime, why do a reboot when they could have done something like V-Tamer? So here's the thing. I love V-Tamer, and I've joked basically nonstop that they should do the anime. This makes more sense because V-Tamer is specifically something that older fans like that never was super popular. It was just the...
I'm going to go there. I'm going to say this flat out. A V-Tamer anime adaptation would be terrible.
V-Tamer as an anime, I think, would work as Try. Where you get an out...
It might work as... It might work if it was done like Try. I suppose that's fair.
Like you get an episode per volume.
To do like a more broad, like a traditional 26, 52 episode adaptation of V-Tamer, especially if they're not modernizing some of the stuff that they were doing, no, it would be awful.
Yeah,
you can't do a mainstream anime based around VPET tournaments.
Here's why
I don't think you can make that work.
V-Tamer as a manga. Part of the reason why everyone likes it is it does not have to spend the time doing stuff that a weekly manga or show does, because it's only once a month. Yeah. It just happens that when you compress it all down, it's very breezy and action packed. But week to week, you can't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love a V-Tamer anime. I don't see it happening. If it does, it would be some sort of OVA episodes every 6 months.
Yeah, an OAV series where I could see that working.
But yeah. Okay, back to the last few questions that were sent in ahead of time while you guys get one more run of trying to think of questions. When do we think Digimon Survival will come out? Feels like summer or fall, I'd say.
Yeah, fall, summer, fall. I'd say fall, more likely.
I think it depends what else they have coming out, but we'll see.
Well, it's hard because now if we've got this with the rebooted anime, it's like that's a weekly thing now, so that's going to be persistently in the background for once it starts in April. It's like that's just going to be persistent for the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's the thing for this year. This one we kind of answered, but we'll go a bit more solid. And this was sent in before we had the title information. Do you think Digimon Adventure Sai will have a streaming service provider, unlike Appmon when it was new? I'm not sure. I'm not sure we will get week 1. The fact that we're getting English shows and everything, I would expect we will have something before the show ends in Japan if it's a 1-year show. And some of the stuff they've talked about makes it sound more like they plan for this to be ongoing. Or at least the brand or at least the brand to be ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
So we will see. I expect something in the first year. I don't know if I expect it the first day, but that would not shock me.
Yeah, if that's something where they might start showing it in Japan in April, and then maybe in the fall something in the US comes out.
But yeah,
potentially even dubbed.
But yeah, it would not shock me if the first day we had it subbed, but we don't have any solid information to tell us that.
Yeah.
And I was completely wrong. I did write down the newsworthy one. That is on the list. I thought I left that off. It doesn't look like there are any more questions there, so we will start to finish up. AR, where can they find you at?
Mm-hmm. Find me on Twitter at FirstAgentARP. I'm also Digimon.firstagent.net. Do recaps and articles of every episode of Digimon. Again, I have not decided if I want to see more about what we're going to do with this reboot before making a decision, because this could be a really good time for me to stop doing it and get on with my life, because I wasn't expecting to still be doing this website when I started it 9 years ago.
To be fair, it's also very, we went from 0 to full very quickly, because 2 weeks ago there was no show. There was nothing. It was we'll be talking about a movie in a few months, and that's all we know about. And now it's like we have a show coming right after the movie. It's hard to really think about that, to be honest. Like at a proper level. Our co-host May is not around. What ended up happening was we joked about doing the episode today, and then when May checked her schedule, she realized she couldn't. Well, we were joking in the sense that we joked like, we're going to do the episode the next day. We all knew that's what we really were going to do. But when May checked her schedule, because remember, May was joking with us, and then when she checked her schedule, I'm like, okay, we're definitely doing here. She went, oh shit, I can't.
Oh, yeah. See, I already put in my calendar that I put in my calendar like weeks ago that we were doing an episode today, and I think I already have in my doing an episode like the Saturday after KIZUNA.
Her being busy now predates even that. She just didn't realize the dates were the same.
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah, so you can find her at her podcast TranslationMon and on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter. My personal account's MarkFBR. I'm normally just talking from the With the Will account, especially at people who are upset that I'm talking from the With the Will account. What's funny is half the people love that I do it, half the people hate that I do it. I will say I understand if you don't like it. If all you want is news, the announcements form on the announcement form on the forum has an RSS feed where you can completely ignore anything else I say, if that's what you want to do. Like that's updated automatically. You don't need to wait for me. You don't need to listen to me talk about Star Trek or Scrappy Doo. So follow all of us, subscribe to us to get notifications for the podcast, rate us on iTunes, and we also have I have Patreon. AR has his Ko-fi.
I have a Ko-fi.
Yeah. Subscribe to the Patreon or PayPal though. What's funny is we can roughly guess when we'll do our next episode. We don't know what we'll have to talk about outside of collaboration type stuff. March, we can all really guess when the episode will be.
Yeah, we know when the March episode's going to be. The February one's up in the air.
The February one's the type of thing where it's like the 22nd makes sense, but also
it does make sense. But the thing is, we won't have seen the movie.
Yeah. But it's also a good time to bleed the news dry.
Yeah,
because
there's going to be a lot of build-up. And stuff.
So
they'll probably have a few announcements in conjunction with the movie.
Yeah. You know what the most terrifying thing is this would have been around the time when we would have went, okay, Digivolving Spirits is definitely dead. And now it's like, okay, if they knew a show was coming, delaying those makes perfect sense. So we still don't know.
Yeah, this is when they, right before KIZUNA airs, they drop the next one or something.
Yeah.
Or they drop the announcement for the next one.
So we will catch you guys all next time. Thanks everyone for listening.
Yep.
Bye.